Hello everybody, and welcome back to another Game News Roundup. We are back for some more, gaming news, and we are talking the Nintendo Switch 2, which previously Nintendo has revealed that they will announce, Nintendo has announced recently that they will be announcing and unveiling the successor to the Nintendo Switch sometime in the current fiscal year, which ends at the end of March 2025. So sometime between now and the end of March of next year, the Switch 2, or whatever it'll be called, will officially be announced. There's really not much in the way of details. Obviously, it's going to be more powerful. It should still keep the whole hybrid, whatever you want to call it. It's a handheld that can be plugged into the TV with a dock. Rumors are that the specs of it is going to be a little bit more than the PS4 and the Xbox One, but less than the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X. But obviously with modern tech. So today we're going to discuss this one little thing. We'll talk about sales numbers and stuff is one thing I always go over. I did grab sales numbers here. It's not the best here. We got week 1 sales of the best-selling week 1 sales ever for video game platforms, as well as the best-selling single first months. But to start this, Nintendo president in a Q&A session in a new general meeting of shareholders said they're going to try to avoid scalpers with the Switch 2, the successor to the Switch, whatever it'll end up being called, at launch. You know how they're going to do it? Try to meet demand. That's crazy. The Nintendo currently, we'll see how things go, how much demand there is for the Nintendo Switch 2. Probably be a lot. It's going to be a lot. So yeah, Nintendo president said, as a countermeasure against resale, we believe that the most important thing is to produce a sufficient number to meet customer demand. And this idea has not changed since last year. So they're going to try to make sure they've got, we're going to say millions. It's going to be millions. Probably the biggest launch in gaming console history if they have any chance to trying to meet enough of the demand to try to limit the amount of scalping. In addition to this, we are considering whether there are any other measures that can be taken to the extent allowed by laws and regulations, taking into account the circumstances of each region. Although we were unable to produce sufficient quantities of Nintendo Switch hardware last year and the year before due to a shortage of semiconductor components, this situation has now been resolved. At this time, we do not believe that the shortage of components will have a significant impact on the production of the successor model. So, yeah, we shall see what their exact demand, what the odds are of meeting demands. The biggest video game launches of all time. First week, the PS4 and the Nintendo Switch are practically tied. They're within, as you would say, a margin of error, as here on VG Charts we track hardware estimates. We do the best we can given the available data, and we extrapolate to get our worldwide estimates. But our estimates have the Switch at about 1.4 million units in its first week sold, that being March 2017. And then the PS5 actually a little bit higher, 1.46 million estimated units sold in November of 2020, again, in their first week. The next biggest launches will be the Xbox Series consoles at 1.28 million estimated. And we also have the PS4 and the Xbox One at a little over 1 million sold each, estimated back in November of 2013. And then the Switch also is by far the biggest launch ever for a Nintendo platform. The DS at like 650,000 units in its first week. The Wii at a little over 500,000. The Wii actually not that much behind the Wii. However, the Wii could not meet demand for many years and was like the best-selling video game console for its first few years before sales basically kind of nosedived after like this third year. And then the Wii U, which had a decent launch, and then sales cratered pretty quickly after that. First month sales, the Switch is the second biggest. The Switch in all of March, in its first month, March 2017, we have estimated sales about 2.3 million. So obviously the majority of its first month sales will be in its first week, and then Nintendo trying to ship and meet demand as they can. The PS5 actually the best-selling month 1, mapping all of November 2020, with 2.7 million estimated units sold. Xbox Series actually 1.6 million sold here. I'm just looking at the numbers that I grabbed from our back-end data that we have collected. You probably can't really read that very well. So yeah, what is Nintendo able to do to meet enough demand to try to limit scalping? Well, one, it depends when is the Switch 2 going to launch. If it's like the original Switch, we're probably going to see maybe March 2025 or April 2025 launch. Maybe we'll get an unveiling this December, or maybe January. We'll get an unveiling and a direct, a big of what the launch titles are, the launch window titles, and maybe holiday 2025. This is just, like, I have no insider information. Just my guess is it makes sense for Nintendo to launch the successor to the Switch in March with a big game or get all the core Nintendo fans to buy it at launch. You know, maybe the next 3D Mario game can have Mario Kart, you know, for the holiday, or Metroid Prime 4 likely as well, even though Metroid has actually never been that big of a seller. Metroid Dread is the best-selling Metroid game of all time, with a little over 3 million units sold that we are aware of at this moment. Compared to, you know, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which has sold like 50 million, some crazy number, 50 million units or whatever. But for Nintendo to have any chance to meet the demand, how many units they're going to ship? Definitely, in my opinion, it's got to be a record-breaking number to try to limit scalping. And obviously not just for like week 1 or month 1. They got to keep it up with 2 million units shipped probably through its first year up until holidays, when we get even more than that. Something's telling me there's going to be a lot of pent-up demand for the Switch 2. Unless it's really expensive, I feel like Nintendo should try to... They're probably well aware that they should not launch it at, say, the same price as the PS5 or Xbox Series X launched it, or currently still are at. I don't think they're going to launch it at $500. $400, $399, I think is the most they can launch it at to have a successful launch. But also will somewhat limit demand, as the Switch is currently $300. Or $350 for the OLED, or $200 for the Switch Lite, which actually, the Switch has yet to receive a price cap. Who knows? Maybe we'll see one before the Switch 2 launches, but we shall see. But yeah, to be the best-selling launch ever, we got the PS5 at 2.75 million estimated sold. Yeah, I think Nintendo's going to have to do 3 million, probably 2 million, or as close to 2 million as possible in its first week. Worldwide. Obviously, of course, Nintendo might stagger the launch, might not launch it worldwide on the same day like they did the Switch, or I think Xbox is done with Xbox Series X and S. Well, PlayStation 4 and I believe PlayStation 5, there was a slight staggering of the launches. It launched in, like, I think it was launched, like, in Japan and the Americas first, and then, like, Europe a week later, something like that. The launches were, like, were scattered over a couple of weeks. So yeah, I think we're going to be talking about probably close to 2 million week 1, if not over 2 million, and then at least 3 million in its first month, obviously depending on the first month being if it launches at the beginning of a month or the end of a month. But within its first 4 weeks, I think Nintendo's going to want to ship 3+ million Switch 2 units to have a best video game launch of all time. I'm going to win and predict it now, and as long as there's no component shortages, and as Nintendo's able to produce enough units, they're going to go for the biggest video game launch in history. Obviously, as more details come out, we will know for sure. But my very early prediction, based on what Nintendo president said here, we're going to see a huge launch for the Switch 2. Have the fastest selling console of all time, and it's, being the best launch of all time, likely. Obviously, what do you think? Do you think the Switch 2 will have the biggest launch of all time? Will Nintendo be able to produce and ship enough units in time to have 2 million-ish in its launch week, and 3-4 million even possibly in its first, say, 4-ish weeks on sale? Is that possible? Can they do it? Obviously, we need to know more. When is it coming out? If it comes out in March or November, that might make big differences. What is the big launch title? How much does it cost? That is the other big question. Is it gonna be 400? I mean, that'll definitely sell well at first, but I don't know. We'll see. Even if the Switch 2 has the biggest launch of all time, I don't know if it'll meet how crazy the original Switch has been selling, with a currently sell-through estimated about a little over 140 million units sold worldwide estimated. And it is a very good chance of becoming the best-selling video game platform of all time. Can the Switch 2 repeat that? I don't know. In my opinion, the floor at this point, now Nintendo has combined their console and handheld development into one platform. I think the floor for a Nintendo platform, and we'll see how things go in the future, but at least for the Switch 2, I think the worst it's going to sell is 100 million. I just think, like, Pokemon in general, that's going to sell 20 million units by itself over the course of its lifetime of the console. Obviously, you have the new Mario Kart, because, I mean, remember, the Switch did not have a new Mario Kart. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was just Mario Kart 8 from the Wii U with all of the DLC tracks added. And then, of course, they recently added more DLC tracks to the game. Obviously, that's going to move a lot of units, and who knows. I'm still thinking of floor 100. Worst case scenario, I think the Switch 2, 100 million to 120 million is my thinking. A little bit less than the Switch 1, as the Switch 1 was a very unique device. Of course, if you look at Nintendo's history, console sales-wise, you're going from the NES with 61.9 million units sold to the SNES down to 49 million, to the N64 down to 32 million, to the GameCube down to 21 million, and then the Wii with 101 million. And then all the way down to the Wii U, which was terribly marketed and was not a well thought out device, 13.5 million. It's a bit of a difference. It's a bit of a just like slow decrease, and then the Wii, and then the Wii U, and now the Switch. Is likely to become should likely become the best selling Nintendo platform of all time. Likely to become the best selling platform in all time. But obviously, it depends how long Nintendo is going to keep producing the Switch once the Switch 2 launches. They might say, screw it, we're going to try to cut ties on producing the Switch and kill it off fairly quickly when it comes to producing new units to focus on the Switch 2. I don't know. But yeah, prediction, the Switch 2 will have the biggest launch in video game history, with 2+ million units sold in its first week, and that's a big thing, and over 3 million in its first 4 weeks. Crazy prediction, I know. We'll see. With this, I mean, just because he's saying that doesn't mean they'll be able to actually meet the demand. Who knows? Maybe the demand, maybe it should be 4 or 5 million. I don't know, but I'm just gonna go with around 2 million in its first week and 3+ million in its first 4 weeks. Obviously, we'll wait until we get some more details. Probably December, the earliest. We'll actually at least get maybe a little teaser trailer on the Switch 2. If not, sometime in January will likely be the full unveiling of the Switch 2, with it coming out in March or April of next year. Prediction-wise, I don't know for sure. That's just what I'm guessing / predicting. If not, maybe they'll push it back and we'll launch it in the holidays of 2025, or maybe like September of 2025. But anyways, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. Otherwise, thank you all so much for watching. Leave a like. Be sure to subscribe. And I'll catch you all next time for some more gaming news, gaming sales, gaming industry information, and whatnot. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Talk to you all next time.